everybody, Pepe here, Pepe's Plants. I wanted to talk to you guys today about the Moringa oleifera plant. This is a spectacular plant to grow. It's a lot of fun to grow. It's edible, it's medicinal, it's used in water purification. It's just a fabulous plant. You've probably heard of it, Moringa oleifera. This is a plant that originally comes from the foothills of the Himalayan mountains, I should say the foothills of the mountains in India. And it is such a fast grower, it's amazing. These seeds here that I have are what the plant seeds look like. This is a variety called PKM1. This is an excellent variety if you're trying to produce a crop that gives you plenty of leaves, heavy duty leaf production, and it gives you a better tasting leaf. It also is more resistant to what they call the hairy caterpillar, which a lot of times attacks the moringa tree. And in addition to that, it is also very good because the plant has all of the medicinal properties and all of the nutritional properties of moringa, but at the same time can be grown within a short period of time if you have a climate that gets cold very quickly. So you can start them up in the spring and you can harvest a bunch of leaves and pods in a very short period. Within probably a good 6 months, you're done, you've got your crop. Some people will then chop it down, let it overwinter, and then they'll come back and start all over again when it regrows, or they'll just replant the seeds. So what we're going to do today is explain something, and this is one common mistake that a lot of people make. You want to plant your seed like this, okay? You want the seed to be in its entire natural state, okay? You don't want to be cleaning it off and taking it out of its husk. For example, this is the seed kernel that's inside. This is what the seed kernel looks like. Okay, this is your seed kernel. You don't want to plant the seed kernel by itself. It's not going to speed up anything. All it's going to do is it's going to end up getting just rotten and just fungus, and things will attack it and it won't do well. It needs its protective exterior coating to properly germinate and get through the entire cycle. This is what a 2-week-old seed ends up looking like, and this would be called a seedling. A seedling of moringa can be produced in any kind of container that you have available. Make sure it has some holes in the bottom. When you start them out, make sure that you have them in a semi-bright but not too bright location. Here we have now a tray that has coconut fiber. Coconut fiber is terrific. It is comes in different ways. You can get a brick that you soak in water, and then after about an hour or so, sometimes a little less, you can break it apart and you'll have this material, which is cocoa fiber. Nothing else but cocoa fiber. Only thing is, I like to add some worm castings, so there's about 30% to the mix of worm casting. Also, people like to sometimes add a little mineral or a little bit of organic fertilizer. That's fine. Maybe add something like azomite, which is a mineral-based fertilizer. So what does it look like? This is what it looks like. And you can see that it's nice and porous. This breathes really well. It stays moist, but yet has enough air pockets between those little fibers to allow those roots to really germinate, take off, and do very well. So we'll put this back under here. Now this is a tray that's about 6 inches deep. It's a 6-inch deep tray. I'll measure it for you here. That's how deep the tray is. So maybe a little bit over 6 inches. And then what we do is we like to fill up the tray. We like to use these trays because if you're going to produce a lot of material, this is a very easy way to work, and you can just pick up trays, move them around, and in 2 or 3 weeks this will have 50 of these approximately, maybe 49, maybe 48, but it should have 50 of these beautiful little moringa plants all sticking out of it. And we'll come back to the video in about 2.5 weeks and show you. So now we're going to plant them, and we poke a little hole in here. You don't have to go too deep, but we do like to poke these holes. And I'm not going to do the entire tray. I'm just going to show you how to do this. So poke the hole. Don't poke the hole all the way to the bottom. Just poke the hole enough, maybe like 1 inch down. Okay? So I pushed too hard and I made too deep of a hole there. So just push a little bit just to get it going. And by the way, water first. Really important. Water the tray first, because then you can put the seeds in. If you put all your seeds in, water, a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times they're going to float up a little bit. About floating. Just because the seeds are floating, a lot of times they'll tell you, hey, you know, if the seeds are floating, throw them away. They're no good. They're dummies. They're dead. There's no life. That's not true. You got to think about it. These seeds were soaking overnight, and they're still floating, most of them, okay? But why? Well, because look at the wings on it. These wings right here are going to make it float. They can be good up to 2 years. Okay, of course, the older they are, the less germination you're going to get. It's natural. It's just going to happen. Also, what conditions did you keep the seeds in? If they're in a hot place, in full sun, blazing, you know, through a window on a shelf somewhere, they're not going to last very long. But if they're in a cool room in the shade, they're going to last 2 years. Okay? Again, germination is going to go down. So now we're going to grab some of the seeds. Okay? And we're going to do like 9 of them, okay? So we'll just grab them here. And by the way, this is the PKM1, and just because it's PKM1 doesn't mean that every seed is going to be identical to the other. They're going to have different sizes. Some are large, some are a little bit smaller. It's not a big deal. They're still PKM1. Okay, so I'm going to put it in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We'll do 9, 10, 11, we'll do 12. Okay, so we got 12 seeds in here. Just push them down a little bit. Just push them down and then cover them a little bit. You don't have to go too deep. Remember, we didn't water it after we planted the seed. We watered the soil. And by the way, you don't have to use coconut fiber. You can use a good potting soil. Some of the names that come to mind are Lambert's. You can use, Lambert's got a great potting soil that works really well. It's an organic potting soil. But I like to use a coconut fiber. Another one that's for professionals use, and I like to use it too, is Pro Mix. And there's another one called Metro Mix. There's a whole bunch of stuff you can use. So we've planted the seeds. They're in there. And we would do this entire tray. We poke around, put them all in there, and then move this tray to a semi-shady location. Keep the soil a little bit moist. And you should have some beautiful seedlings that'll look like this in the whole tray in about 2 or 3 weeks. Okay? The warmer it is outside, okay, the quicker they're going to germinate. If you're in a cooler area and you're at 60, 65 degrees and you're trying to germinate them, it's going to take longer. Okay? And if you're watering them too much under those conditions, chances are you're going to end up rotting the seeds. You don't want to overwater your moringa seeds. You want to soak them, you want to plant them, and you want to go ahead and just keep them a little moist, and they're going to pop out and they're going to be amazing.